Radiating Leadership, a Dvar Torah for Parashat Pinchas. The second half of Sefer Bamidbar deals extensively with role transitions, transformations, and clarifications. Some of these clarifications, like the story of Korach and his assembly, are carried out forcibly and dramatically. Others, like the story of Tzlopchad's daughters, are quieter. At the heart of all this lies a short but crucial passage, the transfer of leadership from Moshe to Yoshua after 40 years in the desert. These verses provide many insights and questions. For example, a look into Moshe's greatness in thinking of the people at the time of his replacement, the power dynamics between Yoshua, the political leader, and Elazar, the priest, and the choice of the disciple Yoshua over Moshe's sons. I chose not to deal with these stories and instead focused on the transition itself, or more precisely, on one part of the transition itself. After Moshe appeals to Hashem, Hashem tells Moshe to take Yoshua, lay his hands upon him, present him before Elazar and before the entire assembly, and commission him in their sight. Up to this point, despite the ambiguity of the phrase "and commission him in their sight," the ceremony is relatively straightforward. What is unclear to me is what happens next. Hashem commands Moshe, and you shall give of your glory to him, a complex command in several ways. First, this is the first and only time in the Torah that the word glory, hod, appears. What is the meaning of this word? Second, after we clarify what glory is, how does one give it from one person to another? Most commentators I've seen define glory as honor. For example, Ibn Ezra wrote, "And you shall give of your glory to share honor with them in the eyes of Israel, so that they will listen, for they already believe in you, and when they see that you honor him, so they will honor him, for they will follow your actions." From Ibn Ezra's perspective, there's an action, giving glory, honor, and purpose, so that they will listen and honor him in the future. Honor also plays a role in Rashi's commentary on Yoshua's consecration, but in a slightly different way. "And you shall give of your glory," Rashi interprets, "this is the radiance of the skin of his face. Of your glory, but not all your glory." We learn from this, Moshe's face was like the sun, Yoshua's face was like the moon. "So that all the congregation of the children of Israel may obey, that they should treat him with honor and awe as they treat you." The first point to note is, in Rashi's commentary, is that glory is not equivalent to honor. How do I know this? Because Rashi defines honor and awe as the purpose of giving glory. If so, that all the congregation of the children of Israel may obey equals that they should treat him with honor and awe, it means that "and you shall give of your glory" does not equal "and you shall give him your honor." What prevents Rashi from interpreting glory equals honor is open to interpretation. Many of Rashi's commentators argue that Rashi chose to follow Onkelos, who translates "and you shall give of your radiance, zivach," to him. And he interprets when Moshe comes down from Mount Sinai, Moshe did not know that the skin of his face was radiant, for the zivoy, the radiance of the glory of his face, had increased. Perhaps. In my opinion, the second point, and I think the much more interesting one, is that Yoshua's face is also radiant. Not like Moshe's face, which shines like the sun, but it does shine like the moon. To explain my excitement about this insight in Rashi's words, I want to refer to his words in the middle of the commentary. "Of your glory, but not all your glory, we learn from this Moshe's face was like the sun, Yoshua's face was like the moon." Rashi draws the words from the for his commentary from the words on the sages in Sifrei Zuta, and in the Talmud, but, as is his way, he adapts them to the message he wants to convey. From Sifrei Zuta, Rashi takes the opening and closing remarks. He speaks of the glory that comes from "for the skin of Moshe's face was radiant," and the purpose is honor and awe. The middle part, "of your glory, but not all your glory, we learned from this Moshe's face was like the sun, and Yoshua's face was like the moon," Rashi drew from the Sifrei and the Gemara. Why do I find this point so interesting? Because from examining those sources, I understand the exact opposite of what I understood in Rashi's commentary. Let me explain. Both the Sifrei and the Gemara, which use the expression Moshe's face is like the face of the sun and Yoshua's face is like the face of the moon, I understand as a parable that argues that although Yoshua will be great, he will not be as great as Moshe. several things can prove what I'm saying, such as the Gemara concluding with, "Woe to that shame, woe to that disgrace," or the best proof, however, is the omission of the part that talks about the radiant face. If Rashi's purpose was only to say that Yeshua's greatness is less than Moshe's, why mention it? The Siftei Chachamim suggests that Rashi is trying to teach us not only about the reduction in the radiation coming from Yeshua, but also, or maybe even mainly, that just as Hashem is the source of Moshe's radiant face, Moshe is the source of Yeshua's radiant face. We're not talking about a closed vessel that receives the light and locks it inside, but an open vessel that absorbs the light and passes it on. Although I tend to accept the words of the Siftei Chachamim, I have something to add. I believe Rashi is answering another question hidden in the verses. After all, Moshe asks Hashem to appoint a mount over the congregation so that Hashem's congregation will not be like sheep without a shepherd. Why then does Hashem answer, "Take for yourself Yoshua, and lay your hand, and you shall present him, and you shall commission him, and give of your glory"? I think it's because Hashem made Moshe's face shine like the sun, and if the sun doesn't radiate enough light to make the moon's face shine too, it's not doing its job. If Rashi had stuck to the Midrashim, we might have been left understanding that Yehoshua needs honor, or perhaps we'd be crying over the decline of the generations. Only the combination of both Midrashim leads to the understanding that this is an essential link in the chain that compiles the Jewish nation. Did I properly illuminate Rashi's interpretation? I have no idea. I've always been warned about radiation. Nevertheless, I'm still Dovi Holtz, one who loves Tanakh. In loving memory of my beloved and heroic student, Amichai Shimon ben Ishayan bat Yarubin Hashem Yikom Damo.